Let's go.
Hello and welcome to the Villa Park podcast. It's me, Rich, and I'm back with Brad, aka AVFC The Religion, to preview the upcoming game, Aston Villa versus Arsenal. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and get your comments in, your thoughts on the upcoming game. And what a game it is to come, Brad. Good to see. It's been a couple of weeks. Villa are in absolute fine form and could not be in a better position to take on Arsenal in this top of the table clash.
Yeah, I know. It's going to be really exciting, and hopefully they do us proud on the pitch. But yeah, I'm still nervous. It feels like I say, everyone keeps saying we're in a title challenge, and I don't want to believe it, but we're in it until we're not, I suppose. So it's going to be a very, very interesting and nerve-wracking game.
It will be, and you know what? I'm pleased with it coming up. You know, we should be in real confident form. We've won 8 out of the last 9 in the league. We've won pretty much all comers that have came to Villa Park. And I won't say it's a free hit, but it's like if we get beat, it doesn't mean that we are all of a sudden out of the title race. If we win, it doesn't mean that we're all of a sudden in the title race. It is a game that at the moment, 2 teams in really good form coming up against each other that are gonna give each other a good game.
Yeah, like you say. So we've won 8 of our last 9, but Arsenal are unbeaten in 11, is it? I think.
Yeah.
So it is proper. Like somebody could potentially lose their record on the weekend. But it is like you say. It is a free hit because I'm not I don't think even the hardened Villa fan will be like, yeah, 3 points, but let's move on. It is going to be a tough game, and even if you offered me a draw now, I'd probably take it and not play the fixture. So yeah, if we get beat, it's like you say, it's a free hit. It's not going to really, make or break our season. So yeah,
and it is in this thick of the season where we've got so many games coming, and that win against Brighton was so important to kind of keep that momentum and give us this opportunity, because you don't want to look too far ahead, but you've got a Christmas or festive period of West Ham, Manchester United, Chelsea, Arsenal again. So while it is a real opportunity, you've got to still take the perspective of there are a number of games to come after this in terms of a short period of time where there are going to be the odd funny result.
Yeah, it is. And like I say, we can't, even though we are winning them all, but we can't expect to win them all. And I am interested to see if he's just going to, because he did arrest a couple of people against Brighton. So I do wonder if like Tielemans is going to start or whether he's going to stick with Onana, because obviously Onana scored. Does Deeney come back in or does he stick with Maddison? So he's got, it's a difficult question, but it's a good one to have, to see who's going to play, who's going to start. Does Buendia come back in? But like you say, we have got West Ham United, so we've got to be mindful of, the games do come thick and fast.
Yeah, and obviously the small matter of Basel in the Europa League as well in between. Yeah. So plenty of games to come. Bit of rest time for Villa though as well. Saturday morning, they're not playing till the Thursday night, so it's not too bad. I guess the tricky period is playing Wednesday night and then this game on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah.
Before we talk about Villa and how we might approach it and what the starting lineup might be, Arsenal, I mean, they look absolutely formidable at the minute. And the question marks have been around their squad. If Saka gets injured, who comes in? If the striker gets injured, they haven't had a lack of striker. If Saliba or Gabriel get injured, what happens to them? But they've had these players out. They've been able to rest these players, and they've got the likes of Madueke, Eze, Mosquera at the back. Some big players that have come in, and yeah, they've just been absolutely formidable, haven't they?
They have, and like you say, depth does win games. And like Mosquera's a really good player. Like you said, you got Saka, but you've still got Eze, you've got Martinelli. Obviously, Royce was question marked, but it looks like he's fit. But they've got quality all over the pitch, and it's obviously something that we've got too, but obviously not in the abundance they've got. because like Madueke, I think he's a good player. I know some people was a bit like, I think he was linked to us for like a little spell during the winter summer, and some people didn't want him. But I was like, he's perfect. He's exactly what we kind of need off the bench. You know, gives you that Bailey-esque kind of vibe. But yeah, mate, they've got quality everywhere, and like you said with Mosquera, I think he's such a good player. Such a good player.
Yeah, and they've got this sort of physicality about them. They can mix it, and they win games without kind of being spectacular. You know, almost to a certain extent, as you say, we haven't quite got the depth, maybe not quite that quality on a real consistent basis, but almost like Aston Villa in a way can grind out results, can control games, can score from set pieces, can score at key times in games to take the game away from the opposition. They've won. I mean, I've not really noticed anything really spectacular about Arsenal other than the depth of squad, the ability to make the changes that can make, and just this relentlessness about, you know, just being like a result winning machine.
Yeah, they are, and I watched them against Brentford, and they weren't great against Brentford, but they still pick up 3 points, and that shows you how good of a team they are. That not even when they're at their best, they're still picking up 3 points. They're still just churning out the results, which is something we need to start doing as well. You know, we need to start, because, like you said about when we played Brighton, it's not very often you can go 2-0 down and expect a draw, let alone a win. So you know, we've got to be careful that we don't get too carried away. You know, I'm trying to be not, you know, glass half empty kind of situation, but if we go 2-0 down against Arsenal, you know what I mean? It's not going to be the same.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Brighton, they're going to give you chances, and they leave themselves 2-on-2 at the back, and there's that 2v2 at the back. There's no way that Arsenal are going to do that on Saturday. Certainly not.
No.
But I don't think Villa will take the risks that they maybe did at that point to when they were 2-0 down, and sort of kind of have Pau Torres marauding into the box and things like that. But, you know, every game's different. Every situation's different. Who, from an Arsenal perspective, I mean, you could go through the whole team, but who really does impress you, and who do Villa really need to look out for?
Obviously, it's difficult because I think Eze's superb, and he's Crystal Palace ex-player, so that's always a concern. Anybody that plays for Palace. Obviously, the easy one is Saka as well. You know, he's such a good player. He's just world class, isn't he? He's just superb. I would have, when there was doubts over Declan Rice, I was happy with that, because I thought that's one position I thought we could get in and behind, especially if you get Tielemans there. But personally, I think it'd probably be Rice just to be a bit different, instead of just going with the, you know, Saka, quite easy to do. Having Declan Rice, you know, he's so good in what he does. I think if he wasn't there, I think that's a position that we could hurt with, like the likes of whether it's Onana or a Tielemans. It would have been.
Oh,
sorry, mate.
Was that your Ring doorbell?
Yeah, mate. 2 seconds, mate. 2 seconds.
But yeah, I think his Declan Rice is Brad's correct as he goes and sorts his Ring doorbell out. But yeah, he's absolutely correct, because I've been really impressed with Zubamendi as well, and Zubamendi has allowed Declan Rice to just go maraud the pitch and get into the box and be that real box-to-box midfielder that we know that he is. And we always say every week, the midfield battle wins you the games, and we had a different challenge on Wednesday against Brighton, because they overloaded the midfield at times, and in the first half it looked like Onana and Kamara were just couldn't get a grip of it, and then in the second half we went a bit more direct and they started winning pretty much every second ball. Leeds, they were up for the fight, they were up for the battle, and it took us into the second half to realise that we actually had to mix it with Leeds before the quality came through. This again is a midfield battle. It's going to be different because you've got Declan Rice who can take the ball and do whatever he wants basically in midfield. You've got Zubamendi who'll just try and control the game and conduct. But then you've got Villa who've got ball carriers in Rodgers, battlers in McGinn, who there's no player like him in the league. And then if you go with Tielemans, it's quick passing. Kamara, it's nicking the ball, or Onana at the minute, it's that dominance in midfield. So it's an intriguing battle in this midfield.
It is, and like you said about Zubimendi, I think he complements Royce so well with what they offer together. That they're superb together, and that's why I was hoping Royce wouldn't be fit, because it'd be interesting to see how Zubimendi gets on without Declan Rice, mopping up and cleaning up behind him. But as you said, it is a midfield battle. I think that's where the game will be won and lost on the weekend. It's quite easy to say the wide areas, but as you said, that we've got Rodgers. Even we've got Rodgers who's doing super well. Like Buendier's had his moments. Obviously not as good as when you compare Saka, Martinelli, and Etsy. Like they've been unreal. I'd like to get somebody else in the three there as well. But yeah, I think the midfield's where it's going to be won and lost on the weekend. So, but it's going to be interesting to see what he goes with. Like you said, like all three offer a different way of playing. Whether we go for like the height and stature of Onana, whether we go the quick pace of Tielemans, as you said. We all know it's going to be Kamara and somebody. It's just we don't know who it's going to be. But yeah, I think maybe that's probably where we was waiting to see if Royce was fit, to see whether it would be Onana or Tielemans. Personally, I'd probably say I'd still like to see Tielemans come back in just because he was rested. Onana does seem to be a bit, stop-start with his Villa career with injuries and knocks. Even though he'd definitely come on at some point if he's fit again. Hopefully he's okay. But I'd definitely go with Tielemans just because I think we can get in and behind.
Yeah, I think this opposition will probably suit Yuri in terms of being able to pass the ball off one and two touch. Because we're probably going to have to soak up the pressure. The next question was going to be, how are we going to approach this game? And my thought process would be, similar to how we've played these games before under Unai, is that you allow Arsenal to have the ball, you allow Arsenal to have the possession and even the territory, but then you've got players like Tielemans in the side who can, within the blink of an eye, can pass the ball through the lines. You've got Rodgers who can run and take the ball, and then you've got Watkins who you could see just the weight off his lifting off his shoulders after that first goal to score that second goal. All of a sudden now it can play off the shoulder of the defenders and can get in behind now because he's got that monkey off his back with the goal. So that's how I see Villa approaching the game. I'm not sure about you. Do you see similar, or do you think we'll actually go for Arsenal?
No, you're right. I think we're just going to sit back and we've got to let them dictate. Because if we go toe-to-toe with Arsenal, they'll hurt us, similar to like Liverpool did. We tried. I mean, Slot always said teams, route one it. And I thought, well, we should just do the same just to do it. But Unai doesn't do that. He has a philosophy that is installed into the players and the team. That would, regardless who we play that way. Obviously, it tweaks between, whether you're playing the likes of an Arsenal or a Liverpool or a Brighton and a Brentford. So it does slightly tweak, and you are spot on. I think Tielemans will start because we need that fast-pacing, counter-attacking kind of football to get the ball moving. But yeah, if we try and go toe-to-toe and go at them, they'll pull us apart, unfortunately, because we're just not at that level yet as a squad. So yeah, and like you say, with Watkins getting his 2 goals, hopefully that means he's back on his purple patch. So it'd be nice to see him, grab a goal against Arsenal, which would be nice. And but yeah, it's going to be a tough task. But if there's anybody that can do it, it is currently Villa at Villa Park.
Exactly, absolutely. We've got to take that confidence, and Arsenal won't want to come to Villa Park, and they'll know they're in for a tough game. I know they beat us last season there, and potentially Villa's best performance in quite a long time of that season. We actually really played well and lost 2-0.
Yeah, we did. I remember it. Yeah.
So there are always good games there against them. Digne or Maatsen at left back? I guess that's the other question.
I've always said I want Maatsen to start this season majority, because I think it's his time now, and I think Dean needs to start taking a step back and start being the cover. But I think he's going to start Dean. I do. I just think he rested like Buendia and Dean, because I think they're both going to start, and Tielemans as well. So I think those 3 come back into the fold.
Yeah. It seems a good game for Buendia as well. For some reason, I think again, short, quick passing, really biting into the press if we can. I feel like it, and I think he's due a good game. Like he hasn't been quite at the races, when he started in the last couple of games. So yeah, I feel like he's due a good game. And I guess the other question mark is Marco Biza or Emi Martinez. I mean, what's the story there?
Honestly, he just seems to keep having these little knocks in just before kick-off this season. It's kind of a weird scenario. Like he's gone really weird with it. But I still think
It's back spasms, isn't it? So I guess they are the type of injuries that can flare up, and you don't really know until you put your back through its paces, sort of thing. So I guess we can understand it, but I mean, fair play to Marco Bizot for stepping in right at the last minute.
It did, yeah, and like I say, apart from I thought he should have done better with when he'd come out for it, but then he made up for it at the end. So so he's back on level pegging for me. But obviously, what Emery said is that Martinez is number one and Bizot's the number two, and he's there to cover. So if Martinez is fit, then it's going to be Martinez.
Yeah.
Which I don't think he's been that bad. I thought maybe because of what happened in the summer and pushing for United, maybe he'll drop off a little bit, but he did start quite. I think it was a bit slow start as the whole Martinez that we used to know and love had kind of gone away, but he's kind of getting back to his best again.
He is. Wolves game. I mean, I know it was an amazing goal from Kamara, but he got us the 3 points really in that game. Yeah. So absolutely, and Bizot actually absolutely played his part in keeping us with that win on Wednesday. And you need everyone in the squad. If you go and mount a challenge, whether that's for the top four or higher, you need everyone in the squad to contribute. And that's one thing that Unai Emery's got at the moment. He's got the options off the bench. Daniel Marlon again comes on and scores with his first touch. Even sort of Evan Gesson, after a really poor first half, kind of got a grip of the game and played better in the second half. But he can bring the likes of Buendia on. He can bring the likes of Tielemans on. He keeps Jadon Sancho on the bench. He's got Luca Dean to come on for Ian Maatsen. He's got so many options at the minute to change it. I keep saying it, and it's so good to have. Lamar Bogard even can play multiple positions. I know you're not his biggest fan, but he can operate in different positions. But it's great to have that luxury in that, Arsenal have obviously got it, but Villa have got it. If we need to get something out of a game, we can bring Daniel Marlon on, we can bring Sancho on, we can bring whoever on if it's Buendia that's on the bench. If McGinn's run himself into the ground, we can take him off and give him a bit of a rest. If Tielemans starts and you need some more steel in midfield or you need height and presence in the box, you can bring Amadou Onana on. We've got so many options at the minute that it's just great to have, and these substitutions are having an impact as well.
No, they are. We have got good depth, to be fair, as you said about Marlon. He created his own chance really by with the build up to the goal. So yeah, he's been superb. He's finding his scoring boots this season really well. Obviously, we won't talk about Harvey Elliott not being anywhere near the
No.
It's gone. But yeah, so we have got depth everywhere, really. And even like Lindelof has played his part, across the back when we've needed him to play. He covered Mings and he did the right back, then he did right centre half. So yeah, he's versatile as well. And like you said about Sancho, he's always getting minutes regardless how the game's going. So it does feel like Emery trusts him more than any other previous manager has at other clubs at Chelsea United. So yeah, it's a good problem to have, but it's like I say, just always. I don't think you can ever make the Villa fan base happy because there will be somebody left out and be like, "Oh, why is he not starting Marlon?
Yeah.
Why is Onana in the team?" So it's a good problem, but like I say, it's always interesting to see the lineup because Villa back when you could predict the 11 every single week with no questions asked, whether it was under Dean Smith, Gerrard, or even Emery in the beginning. But now you just don't know. That midfield always seems to be something that he tweaks with, especially like the back four kind of picks itself other than Dean and Maatsen, which is always a bit of a question mark. But then that midfield is always the one that he tweaks. It's always somebody dropping out to play with Kamara.
Yeah, and it's it's just I think that will come into play more as the season goes on. The situation where the midfielders won't feel like they've been burnt out. The Tielemans who played so many minutes last season.
Yeah.
If we can keep Amadou fit, if Bogard can still contribute, whether we bring in a couple of options in January through, that will really play into effect in the March, April time when, we're at the business end and we see where we're at in the Europa League and the Premier League. So yeah, I think that will come into benefit later on down the line, but it's great to have at the moment, and it's it's so important. You know, the ability to make the 5 subs, the ability to change the game, and we've won so many games off the back of making changes, whether that be at halftime or midway through the second half. So long may it continue. Just a quick word on the manager as well, because he was so animated on Wednesday, and that win like meant so much to him. I think potentially because he knew the games that we had coming up, because of the way that we started the game, and it wasn't the way that Unai wanted it to happen. But then you kind of saw him responding to the character that the players showed to get back into that game. And then his celebration when we made it 3-2, you know, it was almost like they could see him on the sideline. The substitutes could see how he reacted. It was almost like he dragged them through to win that game as well.
Yeah, he did. He was so passionate, which I think every fan base likes to see their manager passionate. You know, and he is that. He is the epitome of what we're trying to build as a club, and you can just tell that he loves what he does. And then like when you even saw like the Gasson one where he was absolutely losing his head at Gasson because he wasn't tracking back or he lost the ball, and then I saw Onana, even though Onana scored, he gave a ball away, and then the channel switched to Unai, and he's absolutely going ballistic, and I'm like, the guy's just scored. Like, I know he's done a wayward pass, but he's so passionate, and like you said, I think the players saw it, and it was like, it felt like Dad's angry. As it was, and it was like, we need to turn this around because he ain't going to be a happy man. And I believe that, you know, like you said with the Wolverhampton game with Martinez dragging us through and getting the 3 points, for me that was Emery who got us that 3 points, because even though we was 2-0 down, it wasn't like they was trouncing us. It was just they took their chances, and then the Pau chance, you know, could have gone anywhere, but it went in, and it was like, this feels like we're not doing anything wrong. It was just they took the chances. So for Emery to lose his head, you're like, yeah, they're not sticking to this game plan. Whatever it is, they are not doing it. And it just felt like they was going to get a beating if they come back into that changing room not winning this game. So yeah, when he ripped his jacket off, I was like, this is exactly why we are where we are. He's the reason. Absolutely.
Yeah, and long may it continue. To finish up, mate, got to get your prediction from you. I think we're hoping for 3 points. I'm sure we know it. We know it's going to be a good game, and it's going to be a testing game for both sides. I've seen quite a few of these Arsenal versus Aston Villa 11s, and I'm actually quite disrespected, to be fair. You know, like none of these Arsenal fans, none of these pundits even kind of have a consideration for Aston Villa. It's almost like they only talk about Villa players if they're linking them to the so-called Big Six. You know, Morgan Rogers gets linked, or Ezri Konsa doesn't get considered unless he's linked to Chelsea or someone like that. So, you know, I'd certainly have Konsa over anyone. There's a debate of Martinez over Raya. There's a debate. There's definitely Morgan Rogers in there. You know, there's a debate over the fullbacks even. I know they love Timber. I mean, I don't know. I've not seen anything crazy about him, but he's a very good player. Up front as well, if Watkins can get his scoring boots. I don't know if I'm not sure about Marino. Gyökeres hasn't been amazing. So there's plenty of top. I mean, Tielemans even. There's plenty of top class Villa players to really, really hurt Arsenal. But anyway, that's my little rant over. What are you saying about the score on Saturday? Are we going to score first, and who will? And what will the scoreline be?
I've gone a bit boring, and I've gone 1-1. I think I'll take your hand off now and get it out of the way. It does feel like, I said it was the same for the Liverpool game, that when Villa get under pressure for a game, when it's like it's been hyped up as this like Madison Square Garden huge fight, we always fall to the graces. Like Liverpool, you know, was on a bad run, and then it was like, oh, Villa will dust them, it's fine, they're on a bad run. And I kept saying before, I'm like, oh, just give me the draw and walk away. And I got told silly because of it. And I was like, at the moment, the mentality is there, but it's not where it needs to be, you know, proper contenders for these big teams. Like, we can do them on, if there's no expectation, you know, when we beat City. So I'll take a 1-1 now. And I think they'll score first, unfortunately. I think it's going to be Eze just because of the Palace link. But I think I think Watkins is going to score again. Now he's back on his purple patch. So 1-1, Eze and Ollie Watkins.
I like it. I'm leaning towards a draw as well. So I'm going to say a 1-1. I think I don't think a draw is a bad result for either team, to be honest with you, and especially if you've got to face them in the same month again as well.
Yeah.
So I don't think a draw is a bad result for either team. So I think I'm agreeing with you, mate. I'm agreeing with you with a 1-1, and I think Watkins and let's say Declan Rice with a goal. I think that'll be the state of play. Yeah. But I think it'd be a good game. I think it'll be quite tight. I really do. I always think McGinn relishes these type of games. And look, at the moment this season, we are winning games. We're finding ways to win in games that I didn't think we'd be able to do, even under Emery. You know, we've come back from 2-0 down. We've come back from 1-0 down against Leeds, against Tottenham away from home. So the ability to come back, the win against Wolves, I know it's bottom of the league, but that's massive because how many times have we messed up against a team that's bottom of the league when we should be beating them at home? You know, you take Sheffield United, Ipswich, Leicester. Yeah. We might have beat Leicester, but you think of those games when it's like you should be beating those teams. You know, 1-0 up against Bournemouth. I know they're a decent side, but then conceding right in the last minute, last kick of the game to make it 1-1. So I feel like we're winning games. I feel like the mentality of the players is changing a little bit. So to your point about, yes, when it's billed as this kind of big game and are Villa real contenders, I think that's probably the next step. Like, can they do it where, you know, PSG, no one expected them to win. Man City, we were on a bit of we were just getting into a better run, but no one expected us to beat Man City. You know, this is the next test, and can we pass it? And do you know what? I think a draw probably just about passes that test as well, because you're showing that you are at a level and you are competing with the likes of Arsenal. But whatever happens, it's going to be a massive game. It's going to be a really good game, exciting game, and I hope for the 3 points. But I do think it's going to be a draw, mate. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. What do you think? Are you confident about Villa getting the result? Or do you think, you know, it could be a step too far? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Brad, thank you for jumping on. Don't forget, follow Brad at AVFC The Religion on all socials, is it, mate?
All of them, mate. Yeah, everything, unfortunately, on that side. Yeah.
Good stuff, good stuff. Make sure you like and subscribe. Like I say, get your comments in. I'll be back with a live watch along on Saturday for the game. We've had some great views on that, so please do get involved in the watch along. Hopefully seeing us get 3 points. Thank you all for watching, and as always, remember, we all follow the Villa.